I just have to say something mean and hurtful to say about Rob since he's not here.
3, 2, 1.
We are live. Stolen Signal Radio. We have the guys from SitRep Radio. We have Mike. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
How's it going, man?
And we have Luke. What's up,
Good
bud?
evening. Good evening.
The better half of SitRep Radio. Rob is not here. He's tracking down information. Destiny 2. Who knows? I got some
Hold on a
Kleenex
second.
nearby while he's watching. What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's left us.
He's left us.
He's
Stage is
adjusting
out.
his bow time.
Hold on a second, guys. Let me figure out what's going on with sound.
Okay. Thought you were wearing the hat the whole episode. What happened?
Oh, sorry. I'll put it back on. There we go.
He got told.
There it is. Yeah. Nice. I have to make you talk as much as possible so that's on the screen.
I don't know how to wear it. How do you wear a snapback? Okay.
No, like on your face.
All right, guys. I think we got sound now. We're good.
We have sound. We have sound. We have sound. We can try this again. Welcome to Stolen Signal Radio. We are lucky enough to have the guys from SitRep Radio. We have Mike and Luke. How's it going?
Hello.
Good evening. How's everybody?
Good.
Back.
Good. And Rob is not here. Rob is tracking down more Destiny 2 information with a box of Kleenex nearby. Too good to join us. So make sure you hit him up at, what is his Twitter? It's at SitRep Rob, right?
Yeah.
Hit him up on Twitter and ask him why he's not a part of this. Yeah, I'm getting comments about the beard. It's playoff time hockey here in Nashville. My Predators won in overtime last night, 3-2. So not time to shave just yet. But we're gonna do
gray
some
going through that beard.
Dude, don't point it out. Like I hear that all the time. Like, you have some gray in your hair. Like I don't need. Like I know I'm getting old. I'm aware. Feels bad, man. But if you have not yet, after this episode, I encourage you to go listen to the last episode that SitRep Radio did. They had a special guest on. They had Eric's on, and did a lot of discussion about the future of the division. A lot of interesting discussion about survival and the possibility of adding a battle royale style mode to survival. Interesting discussion for us right now. I know myself and Binary and Stage, we have been partaking in a little bit of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I've had a lot of fun with that.
Battlegrounds. Intense.
Yes.
It's intense.
Very fun. And just talking about how that could be implemented, if possible, for discussion for our own Binary Numb, who was lucky enough to be invited to ETF Charlie. So congratulations with that. Yes. And give him some ideas and feedback to help him prepare for that. I was lucky enough to be a part of the last one, and I know how overwhelming it can feel to go there and kind of try to figure out exactly how you're going to contribute to the discussion. So
am I.
yes, I think Binary is. Am I correct? There is a room set up on the DZR Discord.
There is indeed. Yeah, on the DZR Discord. So we've got a ETF Charlie room, which has been ticking literally since I set it up, non-stop, which is fantastic. Like the amount of ideas coming through is brilliant. Appreciate it and keep it coming. I need something to talk about.
So real quick, you guys had Eric's on, and just kind of give us a rundown. We can just spawn the discussion out of that, Mike or Luke, whichever one of you kind of want to talk about. Basically, what the discussion on the survival battle royale, your idea, is really interesting. It's something that I think a lot of people have been talking about for quite some time. So, yeah, just kind of give us a rundown. How was that to speak with Eric's? He is absolute legend. So, how was that show, and what did you guys discuss?
Go for it, Mike.
Well, basically, we kind of discussed changing survival to make it into a battle royale mode, and it all kind of came out of we'd all been talking about it over a few episodes of the show, and obviously the ETF came up, and then I saw Arix was like, guys, if I get access to the ETF, I'm gonna freaking bring this up. And obviously we'd already been talking about it between ourselves, so I was like, cool, we'll throw an invite out to Arix and get him on and we'll discuss it. And he was awesome enough to join us and sit with us for an hour and kind of go over some of the details and how it could actually work, and how simple I guess it could be to actually implement. But yeah,
absolutely. You guys, neither one of you have been able to play Battlegrounds. You're not on PC, correct?
Correct.
So yeah, I thought the discussion was really interesting, as far as the way Battlegrounds works. You kind of spawn into the map, and I think a lot of the discussion has been that the Division basically has the tools, the mechanics there to do what we're wanting it to do. I love the idea that you guys have talked about with using kind of the cold, the storm of survival to kind of push the PvP to a centered location, which is basically how Battlegrounds works as well. When you jump out of the plane, you parachute into the map wherever you want. You begin to scavenge for all of your gear, and a random circle spawns on the map that kind of pushes you to that center location, while an outer blue ring it constantly is moving in, and you get caught outside of that blue ring. It starts to diminish your health. So could kind of work the same way in survival, if that's what I think you guys are kind of brainstorming. Yeah, that storm kind of wearing you down as far as it does now in survival, with your temperature, your cold. If you can't keep that managed, as far as using fire barrels and vanity items to keep yourself warm, you get caught out in that storm and it starts to replenish your health. So it could work that way. I like that idea. And it was interesting, you guys were talking about getting rid of crafting stations. Sage, Binary, do you have any ideas of how we could implement that the way that Battlegrounds kind of does it, and the way that survival works as we know it right now in the Division? It would definitely need some tweaks. I agree with a lot of what they were saying, is using crafting stations and things like that really wouldn't be proper in a proper battle royale style mode. Do you have any thoughts of like what could they do to spawn gear? I know you guys talked about crates, things like that. What could they do to give us gear within that battle royale mode? Is gear level, is that important? If it's blues, purples, high-end yellows, what are your thoughts on it? Sage, I'll let you go first.
I don't think that it is important. If it were all high ends that dropped, either from if you start out taking down enemies, and at the very least everybody gets a pistol to start off with, and maybe you pick it up off the ground, or there's a supply crate right there and everybody has their starting positions and that's where you go. I don't think gear scores, keeping it as bare minimum as possible, to me would make the most sense, and keep gear sets out of it, and just let it be straightforward. Although you could absolutely put it in as a game mode to eventually down the road get gear sets. As you guys are getting closer, you reach a certain point, and then you get some gear sets that drop. Either great big crates that drop, and parachutes, or whatever the case may be. But in a case like that, gear score would not be important to me. Let's just let it all be high ends right off the bat, and that be that. It simplifies it and makes it straightforward.
Yeah, I agree. I love the idea of a Royal Rumble. I think the Dark Zone, or any other place within the map is the scale is there, the size is there, but the beauty of what Battlegrounds is its simplicity, and the Division is not a simple. It's not compared to Battlegrounds. division is not as simple, and it goes down to things like gear score. It goes down to gear talents that you get on actual gear, down to the weapon talents, down to your actual stats as well. So if you could just if you could remove all of those and have everything at a base value, I think gear score completely remove out of the picture. Unless you do everything at 256, it would start to make that's probably the biggest challenge that they would have, is to how to balance those. For actual finding loot, I think rummaging around, you've got toolboxes everywhere, you've got those those cool boxes everywhere, you've got crates. I think there's enough places to be able to put loot into. If you're worried about that, I think the only worry I would have is gear set combinations, talents, perks, weapon perks, and stuff like that. I think that's where the unbalancing will happen. RNG, right?
Right.
Whereas in Pug, what you got is it's a weapon, and it has a certain velocity. It's not you're not relying on destructive or brutal or any of those. You're not relying on any of those to make the weapon what it is, which you do in the division. So if they're happy to scrap all that and just have the weapon at its base damage, its fire rate, all you get is mods, right? Magazine, all that stuff. Then I think you're probably onto a winner. The conditions, though, I'll be honest, I haven't finished your guys' podcast yet, but I would like to try and best way what the conditions are to try and condense everybody down into into a single building, or what would it be? Extreme cold weather pushing you in, right? You're not going to have another blue force field come in. I think that's also another thing, is what condition are you going to give to actually make people hone in on something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's probably a lot of what Mike and Luke and Rob and Eric's were talking. That was from what I heard, that's kind of what I imagined it being, was the storm that we're constantly dealing with, the effects of the storm when we first start survival, looting for those vanity items to be able to raise what temperature we can survive in. And even with those vanity items that we put on, we still have to hover around fire barrels, things like that. If you spawn in, kind of the same as what Battlegrounds gives us now. My idea is, the way I picture it would be, we spawn in at a certain point of the map, and have a very specific amount of time, 3 minutes or whatever it be, to loot before the storm starts to condense the entire map. And we can use fire barrels. That there, even if you're on the safe part of that storm, the weather is still affecting you, like survival does now. So you can get to those fire barrels, but eventually those fire barrels will be put out by the storm. That those cold conditions, the snow, all that is eventually going to put fire barrels out where you could not light a fire barrel. The temperature is just too cold to even be able to do that, which is constantly still forcing. You take the idea of Bryant Park. When you're doing survival, there are no fire barrels near Bryant Park. So if it pushes you to that point, eventually, if you get caught out of that, I don't know exactly how it's going to alert you, because I don't think opening the map and having those very specific circles like Battlegrounds does is conducive to the division. I imagine it's probably just from the circle of the storm, you have the eye of the storm, which I guess is basically the safe area to be in. And everything outside of that eye of the storm is just a shade of blue. The furthest points of the blue is extremely cold, the extreme dark blue, and as it gets in, it's a lighter shade of blue. You definitely want to be in the center of that, from what I gather. And yeah, I like the idea, George. I think you hit on it, and that's what I think people are thinking. It's what I think as well. Your weapons bags that are around the map is what's giving you your weapons, your fabrics, can be, yeah. See, this is the brainstorming part of the discussion that I'm interested in, because if you're trying to get away from this storm, at the very end of it, do vanity items even really matter to an extent? I guess they could, because you kind of use them in battlegrounds as far as your armor. You're getting backpacks that are level 2 or helmets that are level 3 that allow you to take, to give you some protection. But they don't give you protection from the outside of the blue circle. They give you protection from the enemies. So getting those to protect you from the storm would be kind of opposite of what Battlegrounds does. But I do like that idea, whether you turn those fabric boxes into the boxes that give you your med kits. I don't think skills, like you were saying, those things to me have to be removed to make it a true battle royale. I don't think you need skills or talents on your weapons. It's strictly just the skill of the player to survive and to come out on top of that the PvP element you're using. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm just going to jump in when you're talking about skills. What we said in the podcast with Arix was to keep it as the Division, rather than taking anything out, just bring everything back to its base levels. So with the weapons, take all the gun talents off, and with any skills that you got, perhaps make them only available in the Dark Zone from Dark Zone caches, but keep them all at their base levels as well. So you only got base pulse, you only got base turret.
No mods.
And obviously they were completely based on RNG and the loot caches and stuff. So that's how we kind of saw that working.
Okay.
I think the main thing for us, I don't know if you guys would agree, but you have survival. You just have to strip it down to like its bare minimum, and not even strip it down. You just the level that you actually get to gear score wise and things like that is fine. I think that's personally fine. You don't have gear sets in there, so that's not a problem. So you don't have to add anything in the game. I agree with Binary. It's a good point. Something we didn't actually bring up was weapons. Get rid of any weapon talents, obviously, and you're bringing balance to it. The cold, I wouldn't even bother with vanity sets. Just if to make it simple and to actually make this happen, just literally rely on the cold. And if at a certain time it gets too cold, it pushes you forward. That's it. And if you're still in that area, you can't cope and you die. That's it. Yeah.
You use the imaginary storm circle as sort of like the contamination vent.
Yeah. Fire barrels, I would probably personally get rid of the fire barrel idea. Keep the game mode 30 minutes. We want players to have fun, not worry too much about the issues that I find a lot of people have with survival is you constantly keep an eye on your cold, you've got the infection, you've got all these things to keep on top of whilst trying to farm loot and get to the center as quick as you can and extract. Just keep it bare minimum. It's battlegrounds. People want to be killing and fighting each other, fighting each other the whole time. Have it as that. Have it solely. That's what you're doing. You want to be looking for loot. There's safe houses. There's hideouts to go to. You can even turn the place where we actually get the crafting benches into like loot areas that you have to find keys for or something. And the stash is in there. There's simple ways you could do it. Take the NPCs out. There's so much you could do with survival itself without actually adding anything to it, to make it a battle royale mode, which is the whole point of the episode and why we kind of wanted to bring this to the attention of people. And we're not the first people to bring it up. We're just trying to make a big hoo-ha over it as much as possible, for everyone out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Are we going to so you're saying normalization as well? So all the weapons are going to be rolled to their max damage, so you don't have to worry about any imbalance with that. Gear as well, rolled to their max values.
Yeah, just keep it everything the same if you want, or have it as survival is now. Nobody has an issue with survival weapons, as far as I know, and the balance of the weapons or the gear that's actually in there or the mods. As far as I'm aware, that's what I mean. You don't really need to change it. Just get rid of the talents on the weapons.
Get rid of talents, get rid of NPCs, and start the storm, and we're good to go.
Yeah,
we just get rid of it as well.
Yeah, I love this idea, and I think, to me, I hate to keep bringing up Battlegrounds, but just watching a lot of streamers play it, and just recently, like, the popularity of that game is overwhelming, and I think the division has all the key elements there to do something, not copy exactly what they're doing, but do something very similar. And what's crazy to me is the replayability of that game mode. Like in Battlegrounds, I can finish in the top 10 or I can finish in the 80th, and as soon as I finish, I'm right back in it again. I instantly want to play again. So
Just playing sort of devil's advocate, what is it about this whole, I played Battlegrounds, but what is it about this whole Royal Rumble last man standing thing that we think actually will be an improvement to the division, right? Because nothing in the division right now pertains to that type of game mode. Slightly, but it's not about last man standing. It's about surviving and getting some vaccine out from the dark zone, right? There is some level of lore there. What is it about? Why is it that game mode? Why is it not like a different game mode like Hunt Rogues, or what is it?
For me,
why Battleground?
For me personally, when they announced that the title of the second DLC was Survival, I always saw it as a last man standing game mode, and don't get me wrong, I love Survival. I'm not trying to shit on Survival at all. We don't want this to be a replacement of Survival either. We want it to work in conjunction with it. But I was disappointed when I found out what Survival was, like, slightly. And it would be, if you strip this down to what we're saying, so no NPCs, I'd like to see the hunters stay in there personally, but that's a different part of the discussion. But if you stripped it down to all its basics and made it dedicated PvP, that would be the only instance in this game that you've got dedicated PvP. I mean, Arex, you'd love to say that Last Stand was PvE with optional PvP rather than it being a PvPvE mode.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. This would be dedicated PvP in a last man standing version. But that's the only reason I'm chasing after it personally. I think it'd be excellent.
But I think there's another argument to be had as well. How successful are other King of the Hill or, Player Unknown Battlegrounds and H1Z1 and DayZ? All these games are very successful. What was it? Battlegrounds sold $11 million in about 3 days once that went open access for people. Going back to Survival and what people thought that game mode was and how awesome that game mode is and was back then, it brought so many people back to the game. You go back and look at the reviews back in December at how everybody loved Survival, and people are like, this is awesome, the game's changed. And I think they could basically do the same again now and keep especially the PvP player base very happy, because they feel a little bit put out by The Last Stand because we have no dedicated, as Luke said, we have no dedicated PvP modes. It's PvE with optional PvP if you want it.
Appealing to me, and I'm not a big PvPer, but what I'm tired of seeing the Seeker Mines. I'm tired of the Deadeye and stuff in Last Stand, and that kind of keeps me away from it. So I don't play it as much as I want. This game mode to me offers minimalized availability of meta, and as a base PvPer, this provides me an environment to get down to just base skill and work on that. To a break from The Last Stand if you don't want to deal with the way it is right now, but you've got an option to get away from the meta, and I like that. Let's just get it down to base skill. What was that DZ level 14 was that sweet spot, 13 or 14 back in the day, and I don't know, that has an appeal to me to bring it back to a base where everybody's on as equal a playing field as we can get. And I think that'll appeal to a lot of people that are more on the PvE side. They may feel it's a bit more fair and consistent for their play style. I'm not sure, but to me, that appeals.
I think for me, you hit it on the head, Sage. To me, it takes away the meta of the game that seems to be what frustrates me a lot in Last Stand as well. I don't think there's one defining build that kind of rules Last Stand, but it's not news to anybody that very high skill power seeker builds, Deadeye, those things can ruin a last stand for a lot of people that, might not be as intelligent as some of you all are with your builds in last stand. So doing a game mode like this where it's stripped down, very bare bones, appeals to me. That's what I like about Battlegrounds. When I lose in Battlegrounds, I know it's because I'm not good. That's an obvious. Everyone in the community know it. I'm terrible at PvP. But as long as I know that it was me that did it, then I'm totally fine with that. And that's what frustrates me sometimes in Last Stand is I can have a really good, striker build or tacticians build. Me and Sage are the Tac brothers. I love my Tac build, and I get knocked down by a Deadeye within 2 shots. Like, that's extremely frustrating to me. If I'm hiding, whatever, but if someone has a max Deadeye build and downs me in 2 shots, it's like, okay, I may have played it very wrong as well, but he had a very specific build to take me out, no problem. I would rather it be skill. Not saying that him shooting me isn't skill. It is, but his gear is helping him out tremendously. I like the idea of a game mode that is very stripped down, one-on-one. I can tell George wants to comment.
But no, I'm just thinking, right? Because obviously, as we're talking, it's like, Battlegrounds is a if we're going to talk in division terms, it's a DPS game, right? There is that there's no medics, there's no support people or anything like that. It's pure DPS. So when it comes to ourselves, right, we have weapons, weapon skill points, we have toughness, and we have skill power. DPS, sorry. When we get those 3 gear, those 3 stats, are we just rolling everything to the standard? The way we pick it up, it's just all into DPS, or it's like if I go pick up some knee pads, or I go pick up a chest piece, or are we going to get rid of all those skill points too and just give everyone a base 180,000, or is it 250,000 HP, and all those gear pieces, all they're going to do is just give us armor? If we're going to break it down, where's that going to fit? Or is it going to be a flat skill points across all 3 areas, so then we can choose? How's that going to work?
I'd probably bring it back to how survival is now. Survival's currently doing it in PvP mode, and that's balanced. To a certain degree. Just keep it.
So you can choose. So you can still obviously find what you find, right? But
yeah,
you are definitely going to try and hone in on a certain, whether it's skill, whether it's toughness, or whether it's DPS.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's your decision when you actually get to whatever we would decide is at the center. How you would actually go up against the other players at that point, I guess.
So I've never actually played survival in PvP. Well, I did it once, and it lasted 3 minutes. Yeah, it lasted 3 minutes. So I was like, I'm not doing this again. But I can only envision that everybody just tries and gets into toughness in PvP. If the other weapons and stuff aren't normalized in survival, are they?
No.
But if you are playing survival and you are in PvP, does everybody try and get as much toughness as possible, or is there still some level of diversity in the 3 areas that you try and go for?
Personally, it's still quite diverse because you're still relying on RNGs, aren't you?
Well, it's not just that. You're relying on div tech as well, aren't you? I mean, that's we said about stripping out div tech, but then also having div tech actually stops players from just rolling everything that they want. So if we actually turn this into a game mode, it would literally be based on RNG and what you actually picked up. You could have like 1 high end or 3 high ends, and you'd be able to choose between all those 3, say they're all on backpack, whether you want a DPS, stamina, or electronics, and how you actually want to roll when you actually get to whatever we actually made this game mode as, kind of thing. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to.
But no, the thing is, the first thing that nobody said yet is the loot drops need to be randomized so that you can't go to the same place and get the same thing every time.
Yeah.
At the moment, that needs to happen, otherwise this game mode won't work. The second thing is that when you're obviously talking about whether you keep in crafting or not, if you take crafting out, you are solely relying on RNGesus then. So if you go to a survival cache that you went to yesterday and you got a, let's say a 256 fucking, I don't know, fucking somebody choose a gun, LMG or something, I don't know. You just picked a gun up from there yesterday and then you go and play it tomorrow and you get something completely different, like a fucking...
Yeah, absolutely. It should be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. So then there is no choosing on what your base stats are. So you can't roll into stamina or you can't roll into skill power or whatever. It's just absolute RNGesus. And I've not played it as we've said, but I believe that's how PUBG works. If you find something tomorrow, it might not be there today, but you've got no way of changing what it is. So that pistol is how that pistol is, or that backpack is how that backpack is, etc., etc. So.
I mean, I haven't had a chance to play Battlegrounds. I mean, I've got a PC to do it. To be honest, I haven't actually got around to playing it. But I mean, I have played.
No chicken dinner for you.
No, I know. But I have played like DayZ, and I understand. It's literally what you pick up, and I've had, battles with some other dude in a tower about a mile away, trying to snipe me, and you're crawling on the floor for like an hour. I don't really want a situation like that, but what I've got versus what that guy's got, I mean, it could be completely different. And I think that's the thing with the division. The minute you start trying to completely normalize everything, it kind of stops being the division. If you know what I mean. It stops being the game we want, and well, not the game we want, but the game we all love, and it starts being Battlegrounds completely. I would, being perfectly honest, I would literally keep. If this turned into a battle royale mode, everything as it is in survival, you're just porting it over into a different mode and just pulling like things from it to make it completely different. Because it would be completely different at that point. You're just relying on RNG rather than crafting.
So what would the end game be if it was the same as survival? Would just not extract, but like what
I think well, I don't know. Maybe keep it as an extraction.
Literally last man standing.
It's literally
only one extraction.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the thing as well, because you could either have it so that if you're in a solo queue, only one person can extract. Like the helicopter is scaled down. There's only one seat in it. Only one person get out. Literally last man standing. And then obviously when you're in a team queue, just only one team can get out. Simple as that. Right. And that would help obviously bring everybody into the center. So you could use DZ3 extraction point as that central area that everybody heads to, and then maybe have a hunter or two spawn out there as well to keep those in the game.
Oh, terrific. Now I got to worry about hunters too.
Well, I mean, they're my favorite type of NPC. I mean, I'm open for discussion on that one, but yeah, I think they should stay in it. But
yeah, just imagine that game mode where it's you and one other guy that are basically in Bryant Park, as the circle has condensed you down into Bryant Park, with the helicopter hovering aboard, waiting for one of you to kill the other, so it can land and then get you out. Something like that would be
proper squeaky bum time.
We need this. We need this.
And a few hunters in the mix would be pretty good.
Well, this is one of the things we actually brought up. It was like, well, do you kind of leave the hunters in there, and then the people left have to like work together to kill the hunters and then kill each other? So then extract.
Because then I don't think you could do. I don't think you should get hunters probably in the final extraction, because then Worms, if you die, then like there is no winner.
Yeah.
Somebody just said hunters only come under the last man.
Yeah, but that would be brutal. That'd just be because you could. No one would win.
Yeah.
I think the hunters should definitely be. It's almost if you're going to put survival in, like the hunters should be the ones guarding the entrance to the dark zone.
That's following Storm.
Yeah.
Or, they're like a gatekeeper or something so you can get into the dark zone. Because in survival you can get pretty well geared before you go into the dark zone, right? I think if you put them into something like that, then that would also add as a bit of a culling, so there's less people in the dark zone.
That's a good
should be enforced into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the idea of that.
Because I love hunters, man. I can't wait for them to actually come out of the fucking survival mode and put somewhere.
Personally, I'm not sure they ever will do, because they're like a paid DLC exclusive, aren't they? So I'll be surprised if they do, but I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong, because they are my favorite NPC. I've said that all along since they came in. So,
if they could be in contamination areas in the DZ or something,
No,
That'd be
I'm,
awesome.
I'm sure Sitrep Rob would love that. For anyone that knows Rob, he has a fascination with contamination zones when we play survival together. He seems to be, what is it, bloody drawn to them.
Magnetized, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even possibly do something. I don't know how I feel about putting hunters into survival battle royale. But if we go with that concept, what if you do something like, let's say, the dark zone chests. Let's say there are dark zone chests that can have a few pieces of gear. If you kill a hunter, does a hunter drop a dark zone chest key, and then you can take and go find a chest to help you gear up more? Should they drop something that should be very meaningful within that game if you do implement hunters? Like, you couldn't get in the chest without fighting a hunter. Without killing that hunter, there's no way into the chest.
But the other problem with that is like how many hunters spawn per person.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't
you
want to
also-
get chased by a
then-
group of hunters.
And then you'd get the point where people would just farm the hunters, because then you'd be limited to the amount of keys, right?
Yeah.
And then people would just farm them.
What about if you had a reduced number of chests to the amount of hunters in the game? And then you've literally got to be like the first people to kill the hunters and actually get to the dark zone locations.
Just
Like 10 hunters and 5 keys. 5 chests. Yeah, I like that.
That's interesting. This is what I like about this.
I think it's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're not dev team, but I mean, speaking of Arix, Arix wouldn't be shouting about something like this. He wouldn't be supporting something like this. Coming from Microsoft, he's worked on stuff behind the scenes, and he's got a rough idea of the sort of amount of work that's actually required to go into making this happen. And obviously it's not a case of pressing the Division button and making it work within about 5 minutes, but it's some user interface changes. It's obviously making sure that you've got randomized loot. It's closing off areas of the map, making sure you've got 24 players spawning like a quarter of the map opposed to like the whole lot. There's ways you could make it happen, and it sounds simplistic, and I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but I still think it's achievable, and I still think it's achievable in year 2.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something that I want to see happen. I can just imagine. George, go ahead. I know you're ready to speak again. I love to hear your brainstorming with it.
I was just gonna
That's what I said. Like, it spurs so much conversation. So if you have
I was just going to ask,
go ahead.
what slogan do we want when you win? Because obviously we can't have chicken dinner. What do we want?
Oh, you can't drop that on us, George. We need time to think about that one, dude.
I could say something, but I don't think we should be very happy. Sorry.
Are you saying like on the screen once you extract for the game mode?
Yeah. At the end of PUBG when it goes winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner, right?
Yeah. What do you want? What should we have it say?
Now Mike has me curious to what he was thinking. It's not Beverly.
Oh, don't ask. I was going to say, don't ask.
Not Beverly Hills.
You won't like it.
For Rob, just for me and Luke, for Rob, I want to just say Destiny sucks across the screen, something like that.
That'd just be a Rob's game.
Yeah, that's just Rob's. We have to make this happen. It adds such a competitive aspect to the game to be able to do, even if we were able to do custom matches within that. All of us kind of get giddy thinking about the fun times we could have on the weekends, getting a proper 24 battle royale, custom match going on the weekends, things like that.
Question for this though: is it? We're talking about this as a PvP mode.
Mm-hmm.
But is it PvP though? If we're going to be having hunters and NPCs, is it this Royal Rumble that we're talking about, or should it be just complete players only in a condensed environment such as the Dark Zone. And you start on all areas of the Dark Zone, and you have to condense them, go to a specific place like Byron Park. But there are no NPCs. Is that more of a PvP?
Everybody?
Is that something that would be more pertain towards a PvP player?
If I'm speaking, if I'm putting my vote in, because I know how badly that competitive PvP community wants something like this. To me, even though I'm primarily a PvE player, I think it has to have no NPC component whatsoever in it.
I agree with you there. Something that we did say on the podcast is maybe the thing pushing you towards the middle is the hunters, and you can't take them down. They just kill you if you stay there too long. You can't fight back. You basically have to push to the middle constantly. And maybe they could be something that's in the storm pushing forward. So if you hang in the storm too long, you get wiped out by them.
So they're like the anti-campers.
Yes. I like that idea. They just come out the storm and freaking wipe you out for no reason.
White Walkers are coming.
Pretty much. But the White Walkers of the Division.
Nice. Luke, what's your
That's quite
vote?
good, though. I quite like that idea. Where they're like they have an invisible boundary that they can't cross over, so you have like your safe zone. Yeah, I quite like that. Well, not safe zone, but yeah.
Well, just have it like, I don't know, you've got like a minute to get further towards the middle, and if you don't, if you hang around too long, you're just gonna have a hunter come out of nowhere, and it's basically tracking you down, and the rest of the people in your group, and you basically can't take it down if you're in that area too. It's kind of like out of bounds. You're pretty much dead at that point.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Is that the only game mode we want?
I still want 4v4 as well.
I want 4v4v4v4.
Whoa.
All the
Oh.
fours.
Yeah, I
So
think
not a 12v12 then.
What, team deathmatch? Yeah, I'd love team deathmatch, but I mean the one game mode I loved playing the most in Battlefield 1, which I know some members of the Division dev team have actually worked on, was squad deathmatch.
Yeah, brilliant mode.
Yeah, and having that in the Division, it's going to turn into an absolute firefight between like 4 teams, but that'd be pretty awesome. And I'd like to see that be like a smaller version of this, perhaps with an extraction at the end, or like that'd be the end cutscene. So whichever team won would be, extract in the cutscene or whatever. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, no, I like that. Stick 4v4 in the underground.
Yeah, Foxy just
Random
said
map each time.
stream chat.
Did he?
Yeah. I know,
Yeah.
Yes, Foxy.
I know Rob's not here, but he keeps shouting for rush in the underground, PvP rush in the underground.
Oh, that would be a good choice. Yeah.
They need to make better use of those maps. There's some brilliant maps down there. It's just a boring as fuck game mode, in my opinion. But
Just give me the rage, the rave area again. That's what I want.
yes,
I've been shouting for that to be a PvP map since freaking it was released.
That's the only reason I start a new tune. It's just to start that again. Just do the same mission over and over again.
yeah, it's a good mission.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I had an idea a while back, and I don't know exactly what the game mode would be or the implementation of using the underground in a way where, I don't know if it would be competitive PvP or just a PvE mode of basically being in the underground, and the underground constantly flooding, where water is constantly coming in, and you're having to push further and further in as the water level is rising, try to get to the next room, so the water is somewhat cut off. And you have, whatever PvP or NPCs to fight, and you need to fight them off as quickly as possible to move on to the next room because the water is constantly spilling in. I don't know what you would use, whether it's like bulkhead doors to shut off a room and they can only withhold so much before it pours into the next room. I like the idea of that within a PvE element where I'm fighting the enemies kind of what survival is, where I'm finding NPCs, but there is another element, which is the weather in survival. That is something that I'm having to manage as well. Maybe that being some type of survival mode for underground, where you're constantly having to manage the water levels that are coming in and still fighting off NPCs. I don't know. It was just that's something that I thought of a while back and haven't really figured out exactly where I would go with it. But yeah, 4v4, I'm all for that. I think that would, another competitive component. And I've said that before. If you give us those tools, because I came from a sports background playing sports games where that's what we did when we had the ability to create custom games within teams and things like that. We created our own leaderboards, our own teams and clans and all of those things. And I'm sure the Destiny community has done that as well. I'm not, I'm like Luke, I'm not, interwoven within that Destiny community.
Yeah,
Within the gaming community. Within the gaming community, that's what we did. We had websites that were set up to where we ran entire gaming seasons and had leaderboards, and we had a show much like this where we got on and talked about the nightly matches, and we if we could stream those matches, we streamed them as well, and it was had a really positive interactive community behind it. I think the division has the potential to do that as well. So discussions like this, and the other ones that are being had on Twitter and on the forums and on Reddit, even though I stay away from Reddit because I'm afraid of Reddit. I'm sure they're having those discussions as well. So
yes, they are. I've seen a few posts from our petition on Reddit over the past couple of days, which have been quite interesting to read. But yeah,
Good old Reddit. Good old Reddit.
overwhelmingly positive, or
it's I would say it's about 70-30 split, to be honest. A lot of people, it's something I was just going to bring up. I mean, going back to survival battle royale, I mean, there was a lot of people basically asking for more story content and more missions, and we were kind of trying to be realistic with this game mode for year 2. We know, I say we know, but we at the minute, as far as everyone knows who aren't obviously at Massive or part of ETF, because I expect Weezer's got some sneaky up his sleeve maybe, but
Sneaky.
George, you'll learn.
we don't know what's coming, and whatever's coming is going to be limited, and we need to basically revitalize whatever is in the game now, even if that means reworking it to get better content that's fun for the players at the end of the day. But it's something I'd like to throw to you guys. Like, how do you think PvE players would take it if this was actually released as a mode? Because it was something that I kept seeing thrown up, was like, oh, people keep banging on about PvP, all they ever want is PvP content. I want more PvE content, but yeah, I mean, how would you try and sway the PvE audience with survival battle royale?
I think so I'm definitely more in the PvE camp. Like, I don't see the Division as a real PvP game at all. I sort of never have. I'm good at PvP, just not in the Division. Put me in Battlefield, Overwatch, COD, anywhere, right? And I'm good. I think the problem with PvE is most PvE players is they're grinders, and they'll put hours and hours into a game, and the progression within the Division is so fast. Like, it does not take you long to grind out to get to 256 once you hit level 30. Like, you can do it on solo in 10, not even probably 5 hours, right? You could work yourself up pretty quickly, and I think that's probably one of the biggest problems the Division has, is there's not enough of, the gear scores obviously pertain to something, but there's nothing in between, right? And I hate going back to Destiny, but Destiny, you're grinding out the exact same gear over and over and over again, right? Then a Warlock has maybe, not including Legendary, the same sort of 5 items, that you're just grinding out for basically 400 light levels. If the division has something like that, then there may be something. Then PvP players perhaps PvE players have something they can grind out. Whereas really, what they have now is 6 jumps in levels, which can be grinded out in a few hours. It's not to do with the amount of content; it's the time. And I think that's probably why they're asking for more content, is because they're just plowing through it too quickly. Give us a gear score 400 and let us grind up to it, a level at a time.
I would say the argument against it, though, is hopefully seasons will, resurrect PvE content, and then PvP players are going to kind of be left in the dust at the minute, as far as we know. I mean, apparently, what was it? Last Stand 2.0 or Step 2 is coming in the future, but we don't know what that is at the minute or what's going to be added. I mean, something I was very disappointed in is the fact that we did only get a singular Last Stand mode. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but it was great, but it would have been nice to have several other modes in there, because I'd like to think we all bought the season pass at the end of the day. But you think the people that paid £15 for that game mode?
It's a bit light for a game mode.
Yeah. It's not a bad game mode at all. And I love Last Stand. But I would have liked to have seen, squad deathmatch. Custom matches would have been cool. It would have been nice to take your own team into Last Stand. 8v8,
So would things like subdivisions be a good thing?
Subdivisions?
Like clans or platoons and stuff like that, so you can start recording or going up against other clans in things like Last Stand and other PvP modes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that should have been implemented from day one, and it was rumored to have been in, and I don't really know quite why it wasn't in there, but it's one of those things, I guess, that hopefully they'll get to at some point.
I think for me, when we first got to try Last Stand, I think there was an overwhelming opinion of not being able to take a proper 8-man team into Last Stand when we knew that it was going to be four people. You could have your 4 and you would be teamed up with a random 4. I'm going to be honest, I really don't know what the mindset behind that was, because I think everybody would agree being able to have the ability to take your team into Last Stand gives it something that it doesn't have right now, obviously. And that's something that really wasn't, I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I'm old. I can't remember how much we really discussed about it, but I don't remember us really getting a clear-cut explanation of why that wasn't implemented at the very beginning. I think it made sense to do that.
I don't know if they were worried about 8 people all running Seekers in sync together and going 1, 2, 3, pop.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect point. But does the meta kind of push that as well? Is it not uncommon to get into a group where you have 8 guys on the other team that's very likely that they may be doing that anyways? Because the meta pushes them that way.
Yeah, but you could counteract that by saying the other teams go do that as well, couldn't you?
Right.
You know yourself, like from playing Overwatch with like five other people, how awesome chats are, and just working as a team to get objective. It's an objective-based game mode that would be awesome to play with 8 people, not 4 other people that don't want to work as a team and don't want to talk to you either.
Yeah. Here.
Oh yeah.
We need the ability to do that. We need some 4v4s. I go back to, like I said, I sometimes jump back to my playing sports in the past, sports games. Like I just imagine a game mode, much like when we used to play NHL, for example, when we would do a series, it was so much fun because we could set up those custom games and something else that the division doesn't have necessarily in Last Stand within rounds of NHL, we were able to talk to the other team. And even though I'm not the biggest proponent of trolling or throwing salt, there was some camaraderie there within games. If I demolished another team, that we could get in there, and for those 2 seconds as we were getting ready to play another or a minute to play the next game, we could trash talk for that minute and just throw salt at the other team, just for that camaraderie. And to me, when I started playing these games, that was something that was very different to me, because when I played sports games in the past, the salt or calling each other out, the terrible things that we do in the division to one another that's kind of frowned upon, was normal stuff within the gaming community. We said everything you could imagine about one another, and it was no big deal. If you wanted to prove the guy wrong, you just went into the next game and you beat him. Where in this one, to clap on somebody's body in the dark zone is extremely frowned upon. Where games that I played in the past, NHL, if you did that, that would be yeah, okay, you got me. Like, what am I gonna do? You took me out. So I like that little bit of back and forth within those game modes. I might be a rarity, but I kind of enjoy that. It's usually happening to me most of the time. I'm getting clapped on, but that's kind of the reward of being the king of the battle to me. If you shoot me, then you have the opportunity to do that. I don't know how you guys feel about clapping on bodies and trash talking one another.
Absolutely.
Is that toxic? Is that
Sit down. Sit down.
I think we prefer the fist bump, don't we, Luke?
Yeah. It's the smack talking in division just gets awfully homophobic or racist very, very quickly. That's what I've found.
Yeah, that's crossing a line.
If you
Well,
just call me a douchebag or a dickhead, then yeah, fine. But if you have to call me a faggot, then yeah, I don't want to hear that. I've had VoIP turned off for ages. Like,
I don't think I've played Division with proximity in 6 months.
Yeah, that sounds.
I've always been in a party. Always.
I did wonder why you and Rob weren't talking when we were in chat, Luke.
We just don't like you, mate. That's all it is.
Yeah, I guess that's also another side of it. That kind of back and forth, that wasn't something that we were used to as well. So you have a good point there. That's not something. Normally it was just you're a scrub, you're terrible, trade your game in and go play Mario Kart, something like that. But crossing the line of being homophobic or racist, that's a little much in a video game.
Yeah. There's no need for it, really. I mean, if clapping over me, that triggers me a little bit, but that's just going back to the fact that it used to happen all the time, because I'm shit in the dark zone. But yeah, I draw the line somewhere. So
absolutely. All right. Anything else, guys? Sage, Binary, anything else that you wanna discuss with Mike and Luke before we let them go? I know it's getting late for you guys, and looks like we have some other people within chat that want to get in and discuss some stuff as well.
We're grown men. 2011.
Only 11? Only 5 here. I still got plenty of gaming time ahead of me.
All I want to say is thank you for everything that you do, the three of you. I know. Third guy's not here, but honestly, your podcast is brilliant.
Third guy.
Richard. We call him Richard, man.
At this point, you're kind of, to be honest, at this point, not to build you guys up, but being honest, you're kind of the flag bearers for the Division podcast community right now.
We're the rebels, and we rebel.
That's very, very kind of you to say, Weezer. I disagree with you, but it's very kind of you to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, you do a great show.
And thank you for having us on again, because this, I've said it to Weezer and I've said it to Binary. I can't remember if I ever said it to you, Sage, but doing this is so brave. So like when you're going to open it up to everybody else, it's awesome. So yeah, well done to you guys as well.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Can we stop the love fest now before everybody?
You guys are what,
Yeah,
50,
go fuck yourselves.
55 episodes? That's
Yeah.
Yeah, 55 was yesterday. Yeah.
that's amazing. I'm sure everyone in chat has already done it, but if you haven't, check out SitRep Radio. You guys post an episode every week? Pretty
Yeah.
close?
Yeah, every week.
Every week.
Every Friday.
We even took it to
Actually,
Wales.
oh man, it helps me get through the workday. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would do. Absolutely. We're gonna let you guys go. We're gonna let some of the other
Yeah.
people in chat jump in and discuss kind of the topic that you've brought to the forefront. What we can look forward to, ideas to spawn, conversation for the future of the division. I like what you guys are doing. I retweeted on my Twitter the change.org, the petition for us to get that survival battle royale in. George is jotting down all the notes to take with him to ETF. Hopefully,
Good man.
maybe not everybody will get good news, but luckily I know I can get good news. We can talk, George. I'm still under NDA. You know that. So we're good. And then what's going to be real fun for you, George, that you haven't been able to experience yet is coming on shows like this just to troll the shit out of everybody, knowing that you know things that you can't tell any of these guys. That's the best. It's like a special power, like you're a superhero. You have all the knowledge. And they're all idiots to what you know.
Is that why you like this idea so much? Because you know it's coming.
Yeah.
That face,
And then-
clip that face.
I've got a bet with Tay Tay to see who slips first.
Oh, that's a good one.
Can I get in on that bet? Because I'm going to go with Taylor. You know what you're doing. He's an idiot.
No, but honestly, on behalf of myself, Luke and Rob, and
The third guy.
no, Rob, without Rob, we wouldn't have got through, the first 30. What was it, 30 or
absolutely
28
not.
episodes? And his wine recommendations are always top notch. So that's why people listen to the show. But thank you for having us on. Every time you guys do this, we always seem to be streaming or having a drunk night streaming, doing something, so we always miss out. So it's nice to actually get in on it for a change.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you very much. Now let's get out and let some other people get in.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Bye bye.
Those guys are absolutely awesome. I enjoy so much listening to their show. I had Eric's on. I was excited that they were able to get him on to discuss that with him. Eric's has a lot of really good insight, not only to the potential of the division, like Mike was saying, a lot of insight into what it takes to implement something like this. So yeah, I was really glad to hear that they had him as a guest. Let's see, chat. We're opening it up. If any of you guys want to jump in, let's see. I threw the link in there. Hopefully, if that worked. Mike Pop is me. Oh yeah, it's probably. Well, maybe
Yeah, he's eating the microphone again.
I'm eating it. Let's put it here.
Nom, 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 nom.
I'll put it here. Get some people in, dude. It's a super interesting discussion. Obviously, my main game is the division. I love it. Battlegrounds has me hooked right now with playing that game mode. I still go back to the division to still continue to do the things that I do on there on a daily or weekly basis. Yeah, I think if we're all being honest, there's the replayability for me for the division right now is lower than it has been in the past. I want to get in and play some survival just to kind of brainstorm some more of the discussion of having that battle royale mode added. And I'm still grinding away at Last Stand. I'm kind of putting a goal to myself to eventually
You're breaking up, Wheeze. Can you move that mic down for me, bro?
move it down here. Good.
There we go.
I'm kind of wanting to make a goal for myself to level up everywhere, underground survival or underground Last Stand, and eventually Dark Zone, to kind of give me something to do until we get some updates about what we can look forward to in the future, whether that be seasons and whatever it might be. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, anybody in chat? I know we got Rimpancy in here. We got Deep Fried Dave. We got Roman. Well, I know we got Foxy in here. Obviously, Foxy is here. I'm sure he was the first one in chat.
Ollie, there's not any particular subject at the moment. Of course, the big thing that we've been talking about is the Battle Royale, and I saw that you had a couple of opinions on that. So we're more than welcome. It's open to you guys. So whatever you want to do, just hop in and we can chat about it.
Well, we knew this guy was always going to join. He likes a good party. Is that Fox?
Foxy. Dude, you have a hair out of place. You're too perfect. Move the hair. Perfect. Perfect. So I'm sure you guys were listening to our discussion. Foxy, I'll let you go first. Throw out some ideas. What do you think about the topic that we've been having about the Battle Royale mode? Is it something you'd be interested in?
Oh, I absolutely love the idea. I've been talking about it so much too, with a ton of different people, made a few posts on the official forum as well. So I would really love to see a Battle Royale mode, and I think a lot of the implementation could be done pretty swiftly with the survival game mode already. So I would absolutely love to see it. I'm not gonna lie. Oh.
Sorry, I'm obviously I'm supposed to be
DB.
catching up on tweets that I'm not catching up on. That's all right. What do you think about the vote? You think it's something that NPCs could be implemented in a certain way, or do we keep those things completely out of it and keep it like a proper?
I would probably prefer to keep the NPCs out and just keep a fully bare bones experience to the Battle Royale. So no talents, no perks, no bullshittery. To be very
No
frank.
bullshittery. I like that.
Exactly, just a bare bones experience in the most pure form, I guess. Even green guns if need be, just to keep the normalization down as well.
Yeah, I think what Mike and Luke were referring to, if I remember correctly, within their episode, Eric's kind of threw it out there that either you use like the gray worn weapons that we started with very early in the game, or the green weapons when we didn't have talents on the weapons. Or, I mean, if you're doing normalization and the weapons are going to be rolled to their highest damage, then as long as we're removing talents, I don't know if what color the weapons are. Like George was saying, if gear score even matters. Gear score doesn't seem like it would really even need to be implemented, as far as what I can gather. I don't think it's really there's any relevance to gear score within a battle royale mode.
Yeah, if you ask me, at least it's just a number, basically. Hey,
Roman, welcome, man.
What's up?
So right now, guys, you've been watching the stream. We're talking about Battle Royale. What are your initial thoughts? Are you in it? Are you out of it? Do you like it? Do you think that it fits with the Division ethos? Is this working, or is it a no-go for you guys? Roman.
Oh my god. No, I kept hearing double voices.
Oh, sorry about that.
So I was very confused. I kept hearing double voices. No, I keep hearing the talk about the public battlegrounds or whatever, and I think it's something that the Division community would want. It just has to be done correctly. And not, but like what Mike was saying about keeping it still within the Division realm and not turning it into that crazy, chaotic public battlegrounds, type of environment.
DB, how about you, man? What do you think?
Honestly, Battle Royale will be a great addition to survival mode. I think really cool to get that in. Certainly put a bit of variety into the whole game as a whole. I think it'll make it a bit more healthy.
Does anybody think as a whole that adding this game mode, and I have to stress game, this is set apart, it's going to have its own server, and it doesn't affect how I view the game. I can separate it as a game mode. But does it affect it for you? Does that do you think that it fits with the Division? as a brand, as a game? Anyone?
I don't know, but I want to know why DB Dave doesn't own a light. Every time he's on camera, he's sitting in pitch black.
Dave of Darkness.
Dean, what do you think? What's your thoughts on Battle Royale?
You know what? Originally, because I'm not much of a PvP player, I really was not on board with it. Since listening to the argument for it, I'm actually very much for it, especially with some of the changes to how we want to strip down the survival mode, maybe get rid of NPCs. I'm really on board with this. My only biggest issue is the time constraints and whether or not some people may just sit outside of the dark zone or wherever the end player ground is, and just, we don't want these matches lasting 2 hours plus. There has to be something that comes in and starts constraining people to a certain fight area, whether it be a storm, whether it be hunters, or my idea possibly is you have so much time to get to the location or you're kicked. That's my biggest concern, is how long can these matches go with how big the map is for survival, which is the entire game.
Should the time of the match be customizable? Should you be able to search for a custom time? Like if you wanted to go for 5 minutes, you could totally do that and just pug for one.
Well, then obviously if it's 5 minutes, then the map, you're probably already started off right away in the dark zone. But if you're looking for the much lengthier, more in-depth, game length, much like, you kind of look at Underground, whether it's 1 wave, 2 waves, or 3 waves, you got more loots, but obviously there's more to it where if you die, you wipe completely. So that is actually an additional idea is, if you want to play the entire map, you get more loots, but also it's going to last a lot longer, whether or not you really want to play that long.
I think you could do, if you're going to talk about time, you should be able to, you have to be able to lose something depending on the time. So if it's like shorter, maybe you lose less, or maybe the longer you go, obviously if there's 24 people, I don't know, but you have to lose something. You'd have to. Or maybe you pick up caches, but like you run the risk of losing a lot more the longer you go.
That just the time length was just my biggest issue. I don't know. Everyone kind of got quiet. Is that something that maybe not everyone thought of?
Well, I mean, I think Battlegrounds for me kind of hits that sweet spot where, regardless of how well you're doing, at the end of the day, the match basically only lasts about 30 minutes. Because, as we were saying, the circle pushes you to that center point to have that PvP battle. And that circle is what's controlling the time. So the match doesn't last. I mean, the longest I've been, which I've finished in a team of 1 round, and it was max. It was only like 35 minutes the entire match, the total time. So I think 30 minutes is a pretty good time. And obviously custom matches you could control that if you wanted to. But I think the general match should probably be somewhere in that 20 to 30 minute range. Give you a few minutes to loot on the outer edges of the match when you spawn in, and then whatever it is, whether it's a contamination or the storm that begins to push you in, triggered after a few minutes, and it moves in waves. It would move to a certain radius, and then you could loot within that eye, and then that radius shrinks by another percentage, by another 20%, and constantly pushing you in. So that's how Battlegrounds does it, and a match lasts generally around 30 minutes. I think that's kind of the sweet spot.
So let's say you're one of the top 30 players.
2 hour round.
Say one of the 30 players or one of the top 3 players that lasts close to 30 minutes. One thing we haven't really talked about are what do the rewards look like? So how do we Depending if you're the last guy standing, do you get, what are the rewards?
You
What do you guys think?
Please don't give me a lot of caches. Please don't do that. Even though they did increase the backpack size, it's just, oh my god, so many caches.
Well, I mean that's the thing when we have things that they've already talked about, like having badges for you to show off.
Just
You
give
can
me more
have
vanity stuff.
vanity items is another thing. That's a perfect point, Roman. Like you could get vanity items. You can get a battle royale jacket or pants. Eventually, you
Weapon
can have
skins would be
full
a good one.
weapon skins.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That eventually you could be decked out with an entire vanity set. Your cap, boots, pants,
Glow
jacket,
shader.
shirt. Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen premium
Shaders,
credits in
weapons,
chat.
everything. Eventually, that is nothing but battle royale gear.
Yeah, the guys
Show
in
off
chat
that
saying
you are the
premium
man.
credits would be a good one.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
No, it's not going to happen.
They're not going to do that.
They need.
Rempency, what do you think? We got Remy from Bombshell Jackets, the legend as well. He's in here with us now. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Give us some ideas.
I think I definitely made the right choice in purchasing this zebra stripe gum flavored vape juice. But anyway, oh man, it's so fruity. I'm like an 8-year-old again, except I'm an adult. What are we talking about? Year 2? What? I've been told to mention underground riffs. That's my entire purpose here. So what's going on?
We were discussing implementing a battle royale game mode within survival, stripping it down very bare bones. Whatever we decide on, whether it's the contamination or the storm that's continuously pushing us to a center location to PvP, what rewards would we gain from it? How would you implement it? How do you think it would go over with the community, giving them a strictly PvP battle royale game mode? This is your forte. You've done things like this, and I'm interested in here.
I saw you played your first big boy game of pubs today. I'm very proud of you.
I've been playing for a few days. I played with the all-star team today and let them carry me to victory. But
I wanted to post so bad on your thank you message. Did you find an automobile that was a piece of crap? But I didn't.
Oh
so.
my god!
The Beverly Hills is back again. Yeah. So anyway, I like the storm idea. The storm idea is dope. Like you have all that snow coming in. It's New York City. I mean, Tinks and I have been down there when it snowed before, and even a little bit of snow is like, this isn't good. And I mean, granted, we went to go get pizza like 8 o'clock in the morning, which is the best thing about New York City, pizza all the time. But what would be cool is if that storm was like rolling in, because like a New York style storm is, there's a bunch of buildings everywhere and like stuff blows off of the top of it and off awnings and everything like that. So I mean, that could be pretty shitty in retrospect. I'm allowed to swear here, right?
Yes.
I always forget.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that would be pretty dope. I would like that. But you gotta kind of wean down the Dark Zone maps, because like playing Last Stand is really kind of frustrating for me. And I went from level 2 to like level 10 this week. So that should show you that I went against my own hypocrisy to play this thing, where I'm very bad at PvP, but I'm playing with a defense build. It's pretty friggin' annoying. So I love that the most. But yeah, storms be cool. I'd like that. But I mean, as far as the rewards go, you got to keep it on par with the Last Stand thing, which would be kind of cool. But it's got to be like a very, very tiny area to do that last battle in, and that would be cool. I'd like that. Oh man, it got silent all of a sudden. This is where
no one
get
agrees
out.
with you. You're banned.
Good.
I know the feeling. It happened with me just when I jumped in.
I'm the biggest Mick in the world, so it's going to take like all of you to take me down. It takes like 8 nurses to give me a throat culture, so just to give you an idea of what you're in for. But yeah, no, I think Battle Royale is a good idea. I mean, we talked about that on Bombshell Jackets before, because I used to play the Arma 3 Battle Royale like a lot. I wasn't very good at it, and I had to play with other people who were way better than me in a clan that I can't name. But I mean, Battle Royale is obviously the one choice. When I first played Survival, I was like, holy crap, it's Battle Royale, except the little radius doesn't get smaller every time I'm walking around, which is cool.
I know that was Eric's big game that he played as well, and enjoyed the Battle Royale within it as well. So.
Yeah, his beard's just like a really longer version of mine. I'm just saying that like ahead of time to defend myself. So
I'm doing my best to twist Deep Fried Dave into getting in here and giving his manifesto as well for what he wants.
He can't, my dude. He's grilling. He does want to talk about underground rifts, and I actually accidentally got him onto playing Diablo 3 a while back, and I know I mention it all the time, Diablo 3. So let's get out of the way, Diablo 3. So I got him playing Diablo 3 when he didn't have cable internet, and I think I'm allowed to tell that story because it's the one game I didn't even think to freaking mention to him because he loves loot-based games, and I just didn't think Diablo would be his bag, and it turned out Diablo was his bag. So I got him playing Diablo 3 when he didn't have cable internet. Oh man, there's such echo from someone's microphone.
Yeah, sorry, I think
This is from Ollie's.
Oh, Ollie, my man, it's okay. I'm just letting you know that the echo is real. So anyway, the whole thing about the whole point we're trying to make about the underground rifts being more like Diablo is just you go through all this, you fight things, it's great, and there's like this, like when you do a Diablo Greater Rift at a very, very high level Greater Rift, like post 70, like anything below a 60 is pretty much cake if you have the right gear. Like once you get it to like Greater Rift 70, that's when like the real meat and potatoes happens. It's like the Christopher Walken telling you what's going on in Pulp Fiction, meat and potatoes thing. But it said in this case it's not meat and potatoes, it's demons, and you have to kill them all, and that's fine. But really, really high-powered rifts are great. Like I went through an underground rift with ballistic shield and a sentry build, and I went through it without any issues. Like I literally could have done a dance emote if there was such a thing for me. And you know, it didn't really feel like I was getting the loot per capita that I was getting in Last Stand. And it sucks. Like I wish that there were more underground like rifts, like underground rifts, like Last Stand reward rifts. That would be freaking dope.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I see myself twice. This is really creeping me out. But yeah, so I mean, like some sort of like system where you get to fight like another boss, maybe like in another room, or like there's like you kill all those bosses, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, hey, it's Joe Farrow, but it's not Joe Farrow, it's somebody else. I don't know, Mickey Mouse Pharaoh or something, and he comes out in his Fury Road armor coming to kill you, and you get to kill him as like the main boss of that rift. And after that, you get like a stupid loot cache. Like that's what I want. Like I want like real rewards. I don't like, yeah, you can get like a lot of yellows and greens and all that stuff, and that's cool. But you know, it just feels like, why would I go do this when I can go play Last Stand or Survival and get those caches that drop all the things?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Dark Souls on this podcast. I've already talked too much Diablo. Don't get me started.
Ollie, you've been here for a great deal of the show, man. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts right now? Battle Royale.
Your mic's mute.
Shouldn't be.
No, his is.
Oh.
Yeah, he's muted on his end.
Ollie, my man.
Yeah, he muted himself.
You muted yourself, my dude.
He doesn't. Microphone.
Can you read his lip?
Yeah.
Can you read his lips at all?
My name is Ollie.
Yes.
And I just figured it out. He got it.
Second time I've ever used this, so you have to bear with me. I'm a proper noob on it. But going back to your point about asking about Battle Royale and things like that. At first, I was like, "Oh, here we go, that old chestnut. You know, more PvP, please, rah rah rah." But the problem is that no, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, I agree with Pulse. Just making it simple in terms of that weather is just going to creep in on you, and then obviously you're forced into a certain area. But really, the whole dichotomy of PvE versus PvP is something that kind of gets my back, really. Thanks, Cosmos. Just saw you. And actually put me off track now. But game called The Division, everything's so quite divisive, really, in terms of there's two camps. And that's really where I want to come. I don't think PvEers, while I play both sides, I don't think PvE are as well represented. That's what
What was that last part? I'm very sorry. I was paying attention, but like you kind of cut out in my ear.
That's cool. It's just literally PvEers I don't think are as well represented within the community. I know that there is some, but obviously you hear a lot of PvP streamers and stuff like that as well.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Those are really the only streamers that have more than like 50 viewers as PvP.
Yeah.
Unless it's me like making a Renji dance in his stream.
It's entertaining. You know,
Worth all the viewers, guys.
you know, there's Tony T.
Sex sells.
But the thing is that it seems like it's all comparing cock sizes. Yeah, I've got so many kills, Ray, you know, and it just, you know, I don't find it that personally that entertaining. I'd be more entertained thinking, oh, I've got 20 capture points in a game, and so on and so forth, and playing the objective and seeing them win that way. But and that's just my opinion, and I know I'm probably in the minority. Hence, there's so many people and so many discussions that we've had this evening about, you know, about PvE and PvP and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I mean, the battle royale, I'd definitely give it a go. You know, I'd be skeptical, but yeah, I like the sound of it, and I like the division, and I like everything that's incorporated with it. It is PvP, isn't it, at the moment, and everything down that route, whether it be the Dark Zone or Last Stand, has that element of PvE in it, so to speak.
Yo, straight up like PvP battle, like in the Dark Zone area there for like a survival battle royale sort of thing would be completely, and I'll tell you how to solve this problem right now. You go in with a couple of people that you really enjoy and you hum the Jurassic World theme song. I'm telling you, it's brilliant. Like that's what I did every time I played Battle Royale on Arma. I was like, but yeah, driving around in cars and stuff. And I mean, the Division doesn't have cars. It's a very big area that you have to scale that's always 0.2 kilometers away. And I make that joke all the time, but it's always 0.2 kilometers away. You can't escape it unless it's 0.4 kilometers away. And that's all right sometimes. And variety is the spice of life. But, you know, if you really want this zone to work, what you have to do is in survival, you need to make the storm happen. You need to force people into that extraction point. You have to hope that they get there.
Yeah.
And that's like going to be the dopest thing in the world. Like I'm telling you right now, from someone who hates PvP, that's why I love Battle Royale so much, because it was like, here I am. I know I suck. I'm sure Journey was playing in the background at the time, and I went through and I did it, and it was fantastic. But
it's the sense of urgency and the pressure cooker that closing environment builds that makes a Battle Royale what it is, right?
Would you say it's an urgent emergency?
Huh? Urgency.
urgent.
I can't go and
I got it.
Safe house while the storm's coming in. That's the only problem, because obviously it goes on too long. And I know some of you guys said that it should only make it half an hour. I totally agree with that.
You know what you could do too? Because it's getting so cold out, instead of like making it based on the storm, you can make it based on how many fire sources you have for X amount of time. And then like the map goes on, like a couple of minutes goes by, there's like a smaller circumference of areas where you can get warm, and then keep going like that and that and that, because it's the only way to work the temperature thing into the game that still makes sense. So
right,
just a thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I'm out of Mountain Dew.
And I want this within, but and maybe it's I haven't really connected with the Battlegrounds community yet, but community that we have with, I know Rimsey doesn't like saying the community, the group that we have within the division.
You scamp.
I haven't found that within Battlegrounds, so being able to do this with the division community is really what I want. So I'm hoping that we can push enough conversation to get this in there. I think we have the right people. It's not me. It's people like Remy who've done games like this that have the insights. Give that feedback to the division, give that feedback to George so he can take it to ETF so we can get this part of it. Remy, do you think, based on what we have now, do you think implementation of something like this, is that difficult? A timeline? Could this be something for 1.8? Is that doable within that time frame? If we're looking at 1.8 in November or December, is that possible?
I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the engine. You know, the ETF guys know a lot more than I do about this, and I don't know what the engine's capable of, and I don't know what restrictions there are on a mode like this. But with survival already in place, it's possible. Like, I mean, they already have the trash cans out that you can light up, so I mean, anything's really possible at that point. It's like, you know, the big Seekers thing that's plaguing everybody. We don't know what the engine can do and what it can't do to counter that, so it's just kind of a guessing game. So maybe that would be cool. I mean, I know a lot of people within the division community like pubs, and it's not because it's the new hotness right now. It's because it's the continuing hotness of two different iterations. So, I mean, that's cool too, you know? It's no Diablo, though. That's all I'm gonna say. It's no Overwatch with SitRep. Those poor guys and you guys, I feel so bad for whenever we play on PS4 because they're like those little brief moments where like Rem Rage comes out from like my Warlock school days, and I'm like, oh, I almost did it right there. I was like, I'm gonna punch somebody in the face until their head's loose or something like that. And then like I start swearing, and you guys are like, oh my god, this is so funny. And I'm like, I'm very sorry. You're all very cool. And then I go back to playing the game. So I feel so bad for you guys.
I got a small taste of it the last time we played Last Stand, where it's like Remy is like, I'm playing, I need people to play with, so I jump on, and we play maybe half a round, and Remy is like, I can't do this anymore. I have to get off. I have to.
Yeah, I got Secret Mind like 12 times in a row. So. You know, that wasn't my fault. Like at that point I was like, cool, there's nothing I'm gonna do, and these two jackasses are gonna take A the whole time while I'm trying to defend it, so there's no point anymore.
Absolutely. Let's see if we have anybody else in chat that wants to jump in and talk about this. You guys can stick around and let's see. We have anybody else? I know Big Smokity, I know Manny, some of the you.
If Battlegrounds wasn't as popular as what it is, would we be talking about it as a viable game mode for the Division?
I did 15 episodes ago, so yeah, I would think so. That was before pubs came out. I'm not trying to be hipster Remy in my hipster hat or anything. My fingernails covered in paint from painting my brother's house, but you know, it's one of those things where, you know, there are always games mode like this. And like when we played Survival, when Survival came out on the PTS, I literally said to Tanks, honey, this is Battle Royale. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's Battle Royale without Battle Royale. And she goes, what is that? And then I had to explain to her what it was. But anyway, that's all it is. So, but yeah, if there's anything like I'm interested in outside of Battle Royale, it is those improved underground stuff. So hopefully that happens too. George, I don't want to put any pressure on you, my man, but don't let me down. I have a really streak.
No, I am 100% with you on the underground piece. I would love to see the underground changed in so many ways, or stuff done with it. You know, even those maps themselves would be great. 4v4 death matches, loads of stuff. Right? Those randomly generated maps that you could play 4v4, 8v8 teams in. No NPCs, just pure PvP. Would be fantastic. Or, as you say, the riffs from Diablo 3 would be incredible.
I would love to get my ass beat in those environments.
Yeah. You know, and it's always different, right? So you never, you know, eventually, right, you would have played in every single way of doing it. But I don't know. I think it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we call those maps tile sets in Diablo because it's like you're seeing. Eventually, if you do enough rifts in Diablo, you see the same rift over and over again. Where it's like, oh, cool, I know if I go this way where I'm going. So, I mean, it becomes kind of like that in a PvP sense too. But man, that'd be
I had an idea that I posted on the forums yesterday, or day before yesterday. Matt seemed to like it, but obviously I'm just waiting for a few more comments. And that was just to simply reverse it. So you start off at the beginning, or start off at the end, and then go back to the beginning, because obviously it feels so stale. You know the routes, and it just is something very, very simple like that. In addition to obviously the disco and to the shopping mall and the bank vault being used more as well. But my main principle was reversing the whole level. So you start off where you finish, and work your way backwards. Don't know what you guys think of that.
So, fighting your way back to the train.
Yeah.
Actually,
that might actually be simple enough, Tim.
That would be fucking dope.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yo, this is your drop-off point. See you in an hour.
Yeah.
Basically, fight your way out of New York is what you're saying then?
Well, yeah, you could use that narrative. I was just thinking of literally doing the same story, but just reversing the whole map. So you actually get out at the train site at the beginning, if that makes sense. It just adds a bit of variety and a bit of spice in terms of which is quite a stale map at the moment, is what I was thinking. But yeah, you could add that storyline where you have to get your way out of the underground, which would also be really good.
As long as that dope ass club music's playing that RR being talked about, where Rex shows up and he's talking about his cooking show, and then you kill him rudely. He's like, "Hey guys, it's me, Rex. I want to talk about my cooking show." Oh my god, what is going on? Didn't really happen. But
I do like that.
yeah, no,
music.
I'd love that.
I'm still trying to find the music that you guys use for Bombshell Jackets, which is what? That's part of Lexington?
Yeah, I have a copy of it if you want it.
Oh, dude, I love that. Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
to beatbox that with my 9-year-old, and he's like, "What's that from?" I'm like, "A game you can't play."
What is he up to playing right now? Is he still on Overwatch or?
He's level 39 in Overwatch right now. He started playing competitive, but he didn't like it because he said the other kids were mean. He's been playing 3v3 elimination at Eco Point and like wrecking people as Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze,
Road Dog.
Nice.
Road Dog is a member of Dungeon Protocols, my Destiny clan, actually. So weird. Yeah, Underground does need more than reverse maps. It needs a Rift Guardian, a big freaking demon that just shows up and I don't know, does stuff. But no, I really like that randomized like boss at the end of each Underground thing too, where it was like, you know, not Joe Farrow, but you know, close enough to Joe Farrow, or not LeRae Barrett, but possibly LeBay Rarrett. You know what I'm saying?
Just a quick reskin would be pretty quick to do.
Right. Not Hornet, but maybe Bornet. I don't know. Like I'm just throwing out ideas here, guys.
What do we reckon? So what if we are if we say that Battle Royale is coming? What would the law be behind it?
There is no law.
Like what would be the story, right? Because every bit of DLC that we've got, or every sort of mode, has a story that pertains back to the Division story. What would a Battle Royale be?
Who's the hunter?
Who as an agent? Who would you be? Right? Are you an agent or are you a rogue agent? What is it? What would you want it to be? Would you want it to be like an Aaron Keener storyline, or?
I don't know how they'd story.
For me, a Battle Royale, right? It's for me the Battle Royale thing doesn't really. I don't know. An extraction is enough, right? You know, you're the last man standing, and you got an extraction, but like, what did you get out?
Well, there really is no lore to Last Stand, anyways. So.
Yeah, there is. You have to go do that like weird little thing where you go look at the computer terminal and talk to that guy who has one line of dialogue. I've been there. I've done it.
Yeah.
There's kind of a story.
Same thing for the Underground. Yeah,
that's not a story.
Bombing of the.
I gave the Bullet King more of a background than Massive did. So let's be honest here. You may not like the Bullet King storyline, but it exists.
And I love it, right?
Thank you. I'm glad. It's the best joke I've ever done. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like Last Stand doesn't really have a storyline. It'd be kind of hard to do one with the Battle Royale mode. It's like 24 agents enter, one man leaves. Welcome to the Technodrome from Ninja Turtles or something. I don't even know, but
so Shredder comes out at the end. What?
Well, but can you also do it like Last Stand basically does, regardless of what team you're on? You're always on the agent team, and the other team is always the rogue agent. So whether you're doing Survival Battle Royale solo or as a team, can you do it as we are the second wave agent that's being put into this condition, and there are first wave agents that turned against the SHD, and you need to get out with whatever. Say for instance, if you spawn in, Remy, you're given some intel that you need to get out, that you need to extract, and the other agents out there want to kill you, and they're all first wave agents.
What if they just did like a weird storyline where, you know how the LMB can hack your shade tech stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out before you say, "Oh, Remy's going off the deep end here."
I want to be first wave where I can hack other people's shit.
What if that same like hacks that happens at the LMB does like actually happens to everyone that goes into a battle royale? So it automatically like tells you that everyone is not actually friendly, but you are fighting against other agents, like misinformed in a sense where your shade tech is going off saying that's an enemy, that's not an ally, like sort of like a friend or foe sort of thing. And like it just turns out that it could be Aaron Keeter, it could be I don't know, Hordit or Waspman or Firefly or whatever those dudes were in that Russian embassy mission. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? Like, there's got to be more first wave agents that are still alive that could still do that and be doing Keener's bidding. So, I mean, that's always something you could think about too if you really need a story behind it.
Yeah,
I'm satisfied with that. That actually sounds really good.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds really good. Right, that's
Somebody have your Isaac.
Take that with me.
We should talk about Hunter the Reckoning now, the tabletop game. Do you guys want to play some Hunter after this? Or I got my books and no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I'd like to see like some lore thrown back into the game because it kind of seems like there's been a big drought. And I'm not saying that because, you know, Tinks does a show with it about Dave or anything. And I'd really like to hear episode 3 eventually, David. Deep fried David.
What was the gap between 1 and 2?
The gap between 1 and 2 was
6 months.
Summer School Electric Boogaloo, maybe. I forget what it was actually. No, it was because Tinks was moving and stuff, so there wasn't really a whole lot of time for them to record. She was out here and she could have, but we ended up going to get burgers, so that's my fault.
Well, Dave didn't have internet for a while as well.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
He played a lot of Diablo 3, so at least I did something right in this community. Thank God.
And take one thing away, turn Dave onto Diablo. It needs to be me next.
Yui Manny, put the middle finger in dab emote and sell him for $20. Ta-da money. He's not wrong. Like, that's actually a true thing. There are many people who would pay for that middle finger emote, and I'm not going to say that they're me.
Okay, so put the middle. Okay, so Manny, do you know things that you're not supposed to know? I wouldn't say that that's not uncommon that you may have heard about one of those. Anyway, that's not under NDA. That's pretty much known that one of those does exist. I can't say which one, but let's just say it's not the first one. Yeah.
I'd also pay for like a Fry from Futurama, but instead of take my money emote, it's like a take my credits emote where you just like stand there and like holding out things to other players after you like respawn or something. That'd be kind of cool. That's just me spitballing though. I love you guys. Do you mind if I go? Because I got to go take care of something real quick.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it.
So I've done enough bidding as far as riffs go. Everyone understands what I want. George?
I do indeed, mate. Don't you worry.
I love you.
You
All
too.
right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, later, Em.
Bye now.
All right, and as we start winding down as well, if anyone in chat wants to join in and give us your opinions about potential Battle Royale or 4v4, any ideas to pass along to George as he preps for ETF. We've got about a few minutes as we wrap up and just kind of go back over what we've talked about. This is something that I definitely want as we talk about this. It's something that I want in the division because as we talk about this, it's getting me excited for ending the show so I can jump into Battleground, so I can jump into survival on the division, and see what other ideas I can come up with and everyone can come up with for something that we want in the future. We need some replayability within the division right now. I'll be the first one to say it. As someone that loves this game, loves this community, has been fortunate enough to do a lot of cool things with you guys as well. I need some other things to do. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but if I'm honest, I'm not playing it at the rate that I was before. I used to play probably 3 or 4 hours a day, and now I'm down to maybe an hour, 2 hours a day at most. If I have other things to do, I might skip a day or two. And that's not what I want to do with this game. I love this game, and I've played it unlike any other game that I've ever played. So I have faith in the developers and Massive and Red Storm and Reflections. I know we got a great group of ETF members from Alpha and from Bravo, and from who we know so far that's going in ETF Charlie. Binary, we've got Taylor, we've got who else has come out that we know of? We know 55 is going. So there's some
Aquamidnight.
Yes,
if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yep. We've got some really good people going, and there are others hiding in the shadows that we don't know about yet, that I'm sure bring a lot of discussion to that as well. So if you guys want to jump in, Binary just threw the link in chat, and we'll start wrapping up. BB, is there anything else as far as the future of the division, ETF 1.7, 1.8, that you would like to see as well? Any changes to what we already have? What's coming?
I actually had an idea which I proposed to Matt Shotcher a couple months ago. I'm going to spoil this for Maverick CW there. I've shared this with Idle, and I don't know if he's still in chat, but there's actually a theory on Endgame for the division going into year 2. If you guys would like to hear it.
Absolutely.
Not really, no.
Okay, all right.
Go for it, because I got a few things afterwards.
It's like, yeah, it's a bit detailed, so I'm trying to keep it as basic as possible. I've got it actually on my phone. I can bring it up. Where are we? Bear with me.
If you could, I need to see your shirt as well. I can tell it's an agent, but I haven't seen this yet. Need to see this shirt.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. Forget the shirt. Get the Seeker mine back up in there.
Oh, yes. Seeker mines. I saw the video. Those are amazing. So cool.
Actually doing a giveaway. I haven't actually announced it, but yeah, I'm actually doing a giveaway coming up because I'm reaching about 1,000 followers on Facebook. Actually, I'm going to give away one of these. So,
we just announced it.
I'll just drop that one. Anyway, yeah.
You can control it, right, with your phone or whatever?
Yeah.
That's
it's on that.
Awesome.
Jesus, man, you could sell those for so much.
Try getting in contact. Try getting in contact with Shiro about possibly doing something, but I haven't heard back. Yes, this is my theory. Sent to Matt Shotcher. How the final expansion DLC of year 2 could work out. Of course, we've still got details of that coming. So we've got the current DZ, including the extension, as now in progress where players in a lobby join up for a pure PvE experience, cleansing the whole dark zone of Rikers, Cleaners, Riders, and LMB from DZ1 all the way up to number 9. Have these enemy AI numerous as they've been called in from surrounding Manhattan and other areas of New York, maybe level 35s, just make it a bit harder. I want to make it, hard, not too hard. You have a separate loading screen for DZ9 where you have a cutscene. You have like an Intel report sort of cutscene where Keener has been reported to seen them meeting up with some of the hunters. So you guys in the lobby server got to go and try and capture Keener and take out a whole company of hunters called the Battle of DZ9. Finish the level, kill the hunters, capture Keener, who doesn't want to be taken alive, of course, reveals in his dying gasps, that he and the hunters are actually spec ops units gathered from various units like SEALs, Green Berets, etc. They're growing sick and tired of the government's corporate greed, which that does never happen. And treatment of veterans have banded together to go on AWOL, first stealing the virus, using that as a cover to steal nuclear weapons, become their own rogue state, and otherwise known as Rogue Spear in Tom Clancy terminology. The SHD must now try and stop the hunters. Their special op units have now taken the virus, spreading it around other areas of the country to be yet affected, and in Division 2 or whatever's happening in the future, agents will go after them. You have a cutscene, sort of an epic cutscene. There's showing the agents running off to pursue said hunters. That was the idea that I came up with. Sorry, Maverick sort of spoiled the message which I sent you earlier, but
Yeah, no, I like that. It you kind of have all the lure to continue on into a Division 2 there. Yeah, I like that.
That's a complete idea, and I love it. That's from soup to nuts. That is a complete idea somebody could run with, man. That's very well done. Nicely done.
thank you.
You have that on the forums as well for people to see?
I probably should put it on there. As I said, I aimed it to Matt Shotcher, and
yeah, absolutely.
Wants it to see, but I might put on the forums. Be a good idea.
Yeah, make a proper forum of that. If you get that, throw us the link, and I'll definitely retweet that out. That's a great idea. I like that.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's to add to the whole chat today.
Yeah,
That's cool. I like that.
it.
I like it.
Just
very
made
much.
Sage lead.
Yeah, I'm on board with that too.
Dane, let's jump over to you before we close out here. What do you envision? What are your thoughts about what we've discussed tonight? Anything else that you would like to see for year 2 content, building on anything that we have coming in future that we already know, or anything that you're brainstorming? Is there anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I actually finally went to the forums with some ideas. I didn't get much feedback from it, but I think it's kind of stale with the Dark Zone as far as, you're either level 1 or through 99. Once you get past 35, which means that you can buy anything, there's nothing to it. So I think they should probably just get rid of the DZ 1 through 9 leveling system and favor props, Dark Zone proficiency caches, just like with any other mode. Along with the fact that there's just no replay value whatsoever now that you can get exotic weapons or exotic caches from the weekly assignments. We all run Amherst Apartment or Madison Field Hospital just to get those 10 daily missions. And no one's going to really do the daily missions for just 10 Phoenix credits. So I went to the forums and brought up the Sit Rep Speed Challenge to implement it so that we have leaderboards for the people who can run each one of these missions the fastest. And at the end of a 7-day week, if you're in the top percentage, then you can get, some caches. Then on each tier, you have a higher % chance of getting an exotic drop. Also, I brought up the idea, the fact that, the Dark Zone, at one point, it used to be where you get the best loot. Now you can get average loot, and you'll grind all week to get just enough currency by one item that they either need to multiply the drop of the Dark Zone currency by 10, or drop the currency 10-fold, the amount of Dark Zone currency it is the cost to buy some of this stuff, because no one's going to grind all week just to buy something that's not even maxed out. So maybe if they're going to keep things that the way they are, make these Dark Zone items God rolled possibly too.
I just want a Barrett's chess piece. That's what I'm taking to ETF. Give me a fucking Barrett's chess piece.
Yeah.
But that's
what I just brought up though.
No, I really like that.
And you're looking for what PC or on Xbox? You're still trying to get it on PC or on Xbox? You need it on both, or?
Oh, I need it on both. But back to my creation's idea around that whole baking in the speedrun challenge as a weekly leaderboard activity. It's a fantastic thing to do. Speedruns is great because you can do that solo, you can do that as a team, and if you do that as a weekly changing mission that lasts a week, it gives you something to grind out for and something that you could get a weekly reward for. Mm-hmm. It's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a new idea since obviously we all know about it from Twitter.
That's the thing, though, right? I think that's half the thing, though, and I think that's probably one of the beauties of what this community is the game has all these mechanics in there, and we've then created these activities out of the side of it from stuff that isn't in the game, but around activities that are, right? SitRep have done a fantastic job doing these speed runs. I know that there's various other competitions that people do, whether it's in the DZ. I saw a website the other day. It was like a DZ meetup where people meet up, try and get up on the same server and have like one-on-ones and stuff. And there's actually a website dedicated to it. There's all this stuff that the community go and create, and I think or any of the studios are actually seeing that and are looking ways to implement that. I think that's all we can ever ask for.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing speed run weekly challenges and leaderboards for solo, duo, and full team. Even threes if you want to do that as well. I like the idea of doing that.
We need to bring back the replay value of these missions, because we all used to grind out Lexington for the Barrett's chess piece. We don't need to anymore. We can just hopefully wait the drops in our
Unless you're George. I mean, George is the exception. He's got to keep grinding.
Yeah. Ollie, what do you think? Open it up to you before we close this episode out. What do you think as far as what we've talked about, or any other ideas or implementations in the future?
I've got pages. You'd be here all night. In all honesty, my main focus would be the assignments. Again, it's really difficult because you don't want to step on the toes of what supposedly feats or seasons would be, and obviously we don't know that at the moment. So these ideas that I have could be a total waste of time. But I just find that with weekly assignments, for example, those bloody 10 missions do my Swede writing, but also I just think that you have a weekly for survival, but you don't for the underground, and you don't for last stand. I think the quality that's needed there. I think that it takes me 2 hours to do a weekly, which I know that I'm a player that's played since the alpha and everything like that. So, and I play a lot of this game, and I appreciate there's other players that don't play as quite as much and find it a little bit more difficult. But I think there should be a tiered weekly, a little bit like the leaderboards, really. I mean, hang on a second, let's have a look here. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the obvious stuff that's been brought up week in, week out, you see it in the chat and stuff like that, challenging missions everywhere rather than just on the few and all that.
Yeah.
It's just obvious stuff, really. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to ramble off and chew your ears off on about all that kind of stuff as well. The only thing I was going to say as well is high value targets as well. Once the weeklies are done on that, my only suggestion would be is open up a hunter's mission. Because I think if you implement a hunter into the DZ, I think it's going to affect other players, which might have a conflict of interests, i.e. farming, rather than PvPing and stuff like that. They just want to kill bloody Bonnie or whatever, and oh my god, there's a fucking hunter coming down the street. So I would say, do a weekly. Once all your weeklies are done, up comes a super HVT, and that includes hunters, and then have all singing, all dancing, reward. It's raining loot, hallelujah.
And it's an 8-man mission.
Yeah, well, you can play around with it as much as you want, right? Can't you? But yeah, that's all I would say. I'm a PvE god, Smoke, not a PvP one, mate.
Do you think it would be possible? Let's say right now we have 3 legendary missions within the division. If you did, now I know speed run on a legendary mission might sound like a little bit of an oxymoron because it takes quite a while to beat those. But let's say weekly you do a legendary. You can do legendaries on the other ones for whatever gear. But let's say, kind of taking what Dean was saying with a God rolled piece, what if they implemented every week? Each of the legendary missions has a speed run challenge. And each of them tells very specifically what you're going to get. So what do we have? We have Times Square might give you a God rolled striker holster. And what are the other legendary missions? Help me out, guys. The next one might have a God rolled Predator's Mark piece, Predator's Mark mask. The last one might have a God rolled Tactician's vest. So you're going to play that specific one with your group or whatever to get that piece. But still, you need to be at the top tier or the team that wins that speed challenge. And you have that God rolled piece, but within the next week, it might flip. And eventually, 3 weeks down the line, Times Square might have that God rolled Tacticians, gloves that would go really well with the God rolled piece you got from the other one a few weeks back. So eventually, if you're a good enough team to win those speed challenges for the legendary, and you go towards a certain gear set, after it's going to be a while because you're kind of at the mercy of RNGesus as far as what pieces are going to be linked to those legendary challenges. But eventually, you might be able to, if you're good enough to win those speed challenges, you might be good enough to get yourself a 4-piece God rolled set of Firecrest. If Sage wants to do his Dragon's Authority, he can eventually speed challenge those legendaries and get a God rolled set of 4-piece Firecrest. Is that so difficult to do now, or would that be something that we would grind to do? Is it really that difficult to get that, I guess, God rolled set now?
I think that I think the benefit of that is. Sorry, Ollie, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nah, go on, man. Go on, mate. You're cool. You're cool.
No, you go. Go on.
All I was going to say is I think it's a wicked idea, Louisa, but the only problem with that is that you're going to create an elitist kind of attitude where there's going to be people that are absolutely brilliant at speed runs that are just purely going to get the best things and then absolutely tailor you a new one when you go in a DZ with them or against them, should I say. I mean, obviously, it's not going to matter as much for like Last Stand where everything's normalised, but if you're going to give the opportunity of getting and receiving guaranteed God rolls for items, you're just going to get the best getting better and the worst. It's going to go like that, basically. That's all I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing that I would say, would that be so bad if, let's say, eventually the way that RNGesus would work, if it rolled around and the very first 4-piece set you could get potentially was Predator's Mark. Well, if a 4-man team does that, you're only going to have 4 people in the entire community that have that God rolled set of Predator's Mark. So, I mean, even though I agree with what you're saying, how long is that going to take before we're only going to have, I totally agree with what you're saying. Those elitist people are going to be pushing to get that, but depending on how plentiful it is, and if only one team can get it, that first team to get a full 4-piece set, it's only going to be 4 of them. What's the possibility you're going to?
It's going to be a load of streamers or a clan of streamers, you know.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. But what's the potential that you're going to run into them? Like, I've played quite a bit on PC, and there are streamers that I can name that I've never seen, and there are streamers that I can say that I've seen quite a bit. I've never seen Chappie. I love Chappie, but I've never seen him. I've never ran into him in the DZ. Plus, I don't go in the DZ a lot, so that might be a reason why I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Just throwing those ideas out there. That's what it is for me. Just continuously throwing those ideas out there, and you know, that kind of feedback is useful. Ollie, you know, it's bringing that other perspective that, you know, you need to think about, you know, every aspect to make sure it's not too much. Just wrapping it up, we're at the 2-hour mark, and I want to thank everybody that's joined us. The SitRep guys, Mike, Luke, everybody else, Foxy, Roman, DB, Dibby, Dave, Dean, Remy joined us, Dave, Dean, Ollie, everybody that's joined us tonight. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to give it to my other 2 guys. It helped me every week. They're the best friends that I could have in this community. They help me out a lot, and I really enjoy playing with them and talking with them every day. So, Sage, Binary, I'm going to hand this one over to you guys and let you guys close it out with some finishing remarks.
After you, George.
Oh, no, the tie. Okay. Yeah, I'll let the tie go last. I just want to say thanks for everybody coming this evening. This has probably actually been the longest and most people viewing. So, it's nice to see that people actually still do actually care about how the game's going to happen. Ollie, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you for the first time, my friend. I've always heard about you. Absolute pleasure. Obviously, I'm going to ETF, which is absolutely great. I'm assuming someone dropped out, which is how I got invited. So brilliant. Thank you to whoever that was. If you've got ideas or anything like that, please jump into our DZR Discord, and I've got a room open. Literally, people are absolutely pummeling ideas in there, and I want to be able to take them all with me. So please do so. Please share. Obviously, I'll credit you where credit's due. And anything else, follow me on Twitter. Peace.
He's a champion. This guy. I'm so happy for you, Binary. Yeah, I can't but praise you guys for coming out and all the support. We've got a really special group. Well, Remy's not here. I can say community, but we've got a really great group of folks here, and the amount of support that we get. It's really about bringing all of your ideas together. I think I've said this on just about every Stolen Radio or Stolen Signal. So if I'm sounding like a broken record, I'm sorry, but it really is about bringing all the different ideas together. It's about yeah, there you go. It's about the community all together. I don't know. I really like it. I saw there's a few people in chat that did feel that they could get in for one reason or another. Please don't feel that way. It is about you guys. We're regular gamers just like you. We're not heavy hitters. So please get in. It is about you guys doing the talking, not about us. It's about getting your opinions out there, whether you're really feeling ragey about it or whether you're feeling one way or another. It doesn't matter. It's about you guys. So make sure that you get in, and hopefully you'll take the opportunity in the next show to do that. And thank you.
But only if you're wearing a bow tie.
Only if you're wearing a bow tie.
Yeah.
It's you.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
See you.